Jurassic World Dominion was released this weekend, which meant it was finally time to turn on my Blu-ray player and watch the Jurassic films for the first time. I know, please put the pitchforks and torches down. There are plenty of movies that I have yet to see, and this franchise was one of the few on the very long list. So I gave them all a watch, and today I'm giving my ranking of all 6 films in the Jurassic franchise. This franchise is very interesting to me. When we think about those large monster films, what do we want to see? Big monsters fighting. But those fights can only go so far, though. We've seen in the Monsterverse that those films continue to be held back with poor writing and character development. The reason the Jurassic franchise stands out to me over the others is the fact that dinosaurs were the creation of humans. If we look at the Monsterverse, those monsters have always been on Earth and humans are now just having to deal with them. It's really not that compelling of a story. The writers are forced to add compelling arcs to our characters. But with Jurassic, these dinosaurs are the result of human ambition. The themes of power, nature, and what it means to change the natural order resound throughout the franchise, and actually add really interesting commentary to these big monster movies. There's some actual life in the writing. So with all that being said, let's get into the ranking. Yeah, I don't love this film. This is the classic, hey, don't go in the basement, the killer's in there, and then they totally go into the basement type of movie. The performances are so dull and unmotivated, literally taking me out of the film at moments. The only one that's semi-good is Sam Neill, but he's kind of just playing a ripoff of Indiana Jones, and that's fine. I don't want to entirely demolish the performances, though, because I think that the movie is really killed by the writing. I think the performances and the actors did what they could with writing that just isn't good at all. The twists don't twist, the turns certainly don't turn. The arcs for our characters are so predictable and just overall bad. As the shortest film in the franchise, it also feels like the longest, and that is a problem. This is also the film that feels the most outdated when it comes to the special effects. This is a franchise that you watch for the effects, and this one looks bad. In the end, I was left looking at my watch with an overly bloated hour and a half with dull performances, really bad writing, and no entertainment value to be found. Jurassic Park 3 gets a 60 out of 100, and yeah, I just really didn't like this film at all. So I don't really know how to feel about this one. On one hand, I enjoy some of the performances and rhetoric. On the other, it's kind of just mediocre. I talked about Jurassic Park 3, and this film also is long. The Jurassic franchise has a heavy pacing issue throughout, and that is most evident in these past 2 installments. I really enjoy the performances from Jeff Goldblum and Julianne Moore, as well as a very welcome addition of Vince Vaughn. The other thing I enjoy is the continued debate over the control of nature and how life always finds a way. But the franchise as a whole does a really good job at building tension. I'd be lying if I said my heart rate didn't increase a few times during the film. But the finale just wasn't that good. There's more to like about this movie, but considering it falls before Jurassic Park 3, it's not really saying much. The Lost World, Jurassic Park gets a 73 out of 100. And let's just move along. This franchise is really hard for me to rank and review because I don't know if I love what I'm watching or if I hate what I'm watching. And that's absolutely the case with Jurassic World. On one hand, I like the exposition of this film. Being introduced to Jurassic World is thrilling. And I also tend to enjoy Chris Pratt in all of the Jurassic World films. This is probably his best performance of the trilogy. But the thing I like most about this film is the unraveling of the major corporation due to the disruption of the natural order. Now, the writing's a bit cheap. We kind of see that in every Jurassic film. But it doesn't make it less intriguing. Exploring what companies will do to make a quick buck is astounding, and to see that all fail when the dinosaurs fight back is actually kind of interesting. While I'm not always the biggest fan of Bryce Dallas Howard's character in these films, I think she has the best arc of the entire trilogy. Watching her views on the dinosaurs change is actually very intriguing and kept me invested, even if I didn't always love the writing of her dialogue. On the other hand, some of the characters in this film are just insufferable. And while interesting, it is just a rehash of the original Jurassic Park. The only difference is the park is actually open this time. That adds a new element to horror with some of the people involved, but how much do we really care about random extras? Not so much. Jurassic World gets a 77 out of 100. It's not terrible, but it's definitely not fantastic. So everyone hates this movie, but I sort of enjoy it. I actually kind of think this is one of the most unique of the bunch, tackling both the political and criminal aspects of dinosaurs returning to Earth. The action, as always, is thrilling, but the criminal subplot is actually kind of interesting. However, this is another case of, do I love what I'm watching or hate it? This franchise as a whole is not anything fantastic. There is one banger in this franchise, which we'll talk about later, and the rest of the films are average at best. That's the case with Fallen Kingdom. I can respect evolving to tackle new genres, but you gotta make the writing better. It's highly predictable, not motivated, and overall just bland. Our villain feels like he was pulled out of any 2000s action movie, and not in a good way. Now you may be asking, Jack, why is this ahead of Jurassic World when you just spent minutes praising that movie? Well, in the end, I really enjoyed the commentary on how dinosaurs are being treated in this film. I actually find the argument really interesting, and it was treated delicately. This is probably the best film in the franchise when it comes to examining the question, what happens next? Usually it's just brushed off and we head into the next film. But here there are actual consequences and tough decisions that need to be made when it comes to dinosaurs roaming the Earth again. I really enjoyed that conversation. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom gets a 79 out of 100. I'll continue to be a defender of this film, even if it's average at best. Yeah, who would have thought? Not me. I'm going to spend the most time talking about this film due to the fact that it's why we're here. If it didn't come out, there'd be no reason for me to make this ranking. So I actually enjoyed it. What can I say? I was utterly entertained. One of the things I think the film suffers from is an identity crisis. That's kind of the biggest thing that I think that Jurassic World Dominion kind of has against it. The film throws every genre in the book at the wall to see what sticks. At some points, it's a thrilling action-adventure kind of spy film. At others, it's a horror. That imbalance can be annoying at times, but when it works, I think it actually works pretty effectively. The action sequences are big and bold, and overall, they worked wonders. The chase sequence in the middle of the film is thrilling, and it left me on the edge of my seat. And the final dino fight at the end packed a punch, even if it only lasted 10 seconds. You come to these films to be thoroughly entertained, and in the end, this did the job. This is the second time in the last few weeks where nostalgia was done well. We saw it with Top Gun Maverick, and we're seeing it now with Jurassic World Dominion. The legacy characters were used to their fullest, all having important things necessary to do to the plot. Seeing all the characters, old and new, interact was great, and none of it felt forced, and the conclusions of all of our characters were really nice. I'm conflicted because I know this film is going to do good at the box office, and therefore, I'm sure sometime down the road, we will see an announcement about a sequel. But I really believe this was a great conclusion to all of our characters, wrapping up each arc, and more importantly, wrapping up the overall arc of dinosaurs on Earth. In the end, this is what the whole series is about. Dinosaurs are back. What are we going to do about it? And I think this film tackles it the best and ties it up in a nice little bow. But hey, money talks. We'll see what happens. Jurassic World Dominion gets an 81 out of 100, and I think it serves as a very nice conclusion to the Jurassic saga. You gotta love an original, am I right? I mean, Jurassic Park is good, no doubt. But you have to just sit back and revel in the absolutely incredible achievement in cinema it is. The visual effects are astounding. The direction from Spielberg is legendary, and that score, just so damn good. I mean, it really does all come down to the visual effects. At the time, they were groundbreaking. We watched dinosaurs walk the earth, and for that time, it still looks believable. When I look at older films, the ones that stand out are the ones that hold up today when it comes to the visual effects. And Jurassic Park is one of those key examples. You can compare this film to its sequels that have come out in the past few years, and in some instances, the original looks better. I mean, that's astounding. It's incredible. Now, it's not all about the effects, though. I mean, I think the story is great. It's the original that looks at that question about the natural order and what the consequences may be of trying to change that order. The story is simple enough and scary enough for you to be on the edge of your seat the entire time. The characters are at their most charming, and like I said before, that score is iconic. Now, Jurassic Park gets an 85 out of 100, and it is my favorite film in the Jurassic franchise. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We have reached the end of the video. That is my ranking of all 6 films in the Jurassic saga, Jurassic Park world. That is my ranking. Go down below in the comments. Let me know, what is your favorite film in the Jurassic saga. I enjoyed Dominion. I'm not going to do a full review on it. This is the video that I'm covering with Jurassic World Dominion. I enjoyed it. I gave it an 81 out of 100. I think there's a lot of good about it. I think there's obviously bad. It's not a perfect movie. I think it's still kind of an average movie, but I think if you go to be entertained, you're going to be entertained. And I really, really like that. And I tend to actually be a defender of all three Jurassic World movies. A lot of people do not like them. They think they're bad. And I will be a stark defender of them in the near future. While I do not think any of them are perfect, I think they are all average at best. I don't think they are the dumpster fires that everyone is making them out to be. But go down below in the comments. Let me know, what is your favorite movie in the Jurassic saga? That is pretty much it, guys. I want to thank you all so much for watching the video. It really does mean the world. And I want to thank you all so much on the support of every video I've put out so far. My Top Gun Maverick, Tom Cruise is the last movie star video essay, at the time of recording this, is over 850 views. And at the pace that it's at, it's going to hit 1,000 views within the next day or two. That is incredible, and I did not think that any of the essays I did would do as well as they are doing, and that's all thanks to you guys watching the videos, interacting and commenting and all of that. It does mean the absolute world. I was a bit nervous starting this new kind of era on my channel. I did not know how people would take to the video essays, but everyone seems to really be enjoying them, and I really do appreciate you guys hanging out and checking out the videos. If you've not already, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel as much as we can, and I really do appreciate you all watching today's video. It really does mean the absolute world. But guys, that is pretty much it. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Let me know again in the comments, what is your favorite Jurassic movie, and we'll see you in the next video.